returning viewer, and welcome for the first time if this is your first time here. I am joined by my husband, David, today. So this is your, I think, third time being in a channel video. And we have a nice, relaxing Sunday afternoon. I felt like filming, and he felt like being in a video. And I'm going to be doing a video that I only just remembered. I did this like 5 years ago, but it's the anything but books tag. And I haven't given David a heads up on any of the questions. So I guess I'll let you answer yours first. And the first question is, name a cartoon you love. I think I know the answer to this too.
Dragon Ball Z. No, can I change it?
Sure.
So, my 10-year-old self would be angry if I didn't say that Digimon is a highly a highly underrated show.
But the one that you watch as an adult
is Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. So do you enjoy Digimon now as an adult?
You know, I actually haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Would it be appropriate for Peter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Maybe that's something you guys could watch together.
I have a feeling it might be like really corny. But like I remember
it. At all.
It is, but I remember it as being like really, really good. Okay. But I think it might actually have like really horrible production quality and graphics and things like that. But you know, there's the nostalgia factor.
Yes, it pulls through. My answer is going to be the 101 Dalmatians, the Disney cartoon. It had been years since I watched it, and I watched it until I watched it this last week, and it is just so beautifully shot. All of the color schemes in it, and it's just so calm, and all of the additions they add that are not in the book are still wonderful. Like, they just add to the charm. Like, I did not remember this detail. It's in both the book and the movie. But when the puppies escape, Horace and Jasper are watching a show called What's My Crime, where they have prisoners come and the guests will try to guess what the person's crime is. And so at the end, Horace and Jasper are comforted that maybe one day they'll get to be on What's My Crime.
Are they arrested at the end?
They are arrested at the end, yeah. Okay, question 2. What is your favorite song right now?
Gosh. It's by Regina Spektor. And I think it's called Small Bills.
I didn't know you listened to her on your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's on my Spotify playlist.
Okay.
And there's a few songs by her.
We both really like Regina Spektor, and I keep stalking her account, hoping that a new album will pop up.
Has it been a while since she made one?
It's been like 8 years, I think. Yeah, but she's going on tour, so there is hope. I think maybe she's still feeling creative and would come out with a new album. Small Bills is really good. I think Older and Taller might be my favorite by her.
That's on my playlist. Yeah.
And the Narnia one, The Call.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember it? Really?
Mm-mm.
It's very like Into the West by Annie Lennox kind of category.
Okay. I like her music because she's capable of expressing kind of like the full spectrum of life experience.
Yes.
And sort of like an emotional set that you don't often see. Like in the Small Bills song, I feel like what she's capturing is is that moment of panic when you realize that you're gonna come up short. It could be coming up short for like, oh wow, I didn't prepare for this presentation at work, or it could literally be, I actually owe somebody money and they're gonna break my knees. It's that whole spectrum, and like to capture that, and the storytelling is really good in her music.
My current favorite song. Now I'm drawing a blank. I just heard about Jackson Browne from Susan Branch, and there's one of his songs that I can't remember the name of it, but I'll link it in the description. That one is fun. I really love like 60s, 70s soft rock, kind of pop.
I feel like that's a little bit cheating, just to say I can't think of it. I think that you should pick.
No, it's a specific song.
You're okay. There's actually a real life song. You're not just saying I don't know, something by somebody.
No, it's a real song. Right. Something My Eyes. Okay, the third question is, what could you do for hours that isn't reading?
I could play StarCraft for hours.
You could play StarCraft for hours. He loves StarCraft.
Gosh. I'm just realizing what
you want to be
like
playing
a nerd,
StarCraft right
no,
now?
No, I was just realizing what a nerd I'm coming across in this video, but
Well,
that's all right. It's the truth.
I could watch sitcoms for hours. Like no problem. I can't.
What sitcom right now?
Gilmore Girls is not a sitcom. That was the first show. As time goes by,
it's not a sitcom.
I don't think Gilmore Girls is like a dramedy.
I just realized I don't know what a sitcom is.
Situation comedy. It has to be. It's like overall lighthearted. There's too many dramatic things happening.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Gilmore Girls would be dramedy. So as time goes by, that's what I would say. Okay. What is something I love to do that my followers would be surprised by? Do you have an answer for this about me? I was thinking about this. I don't know if there's anything that surprising about me.
They know that you knit.
They know I knit.
That's not really surprising.
Yeah, that's not an unusual thing for a reader. This is a fun one. You'll have fun with this. What is your favorite unnecessarily specific thing to learn about? Do you want to think first?
Sure.
Okay, and mine is just very specific details about my favorite authors' lives. Like I loved learning about Emily Bronte, the time that the dogs were fighting and she separated the fight and had gotten bitten by a dog, and so she branded the wound. And that Thomas Hardy, this is very weird, and I will link it in the description. He helped put all of these graves, these tombstones, they're surrounding this tree in a churchyard, like in this big circle. It's very weird looking. Yeah. And that Maud Hart Lovelace and Elizabeth Gaskell have both been to Oberammergau in Germany, which is where the Passion Play is every 10 years. Specific things like that. All right. Do you have something?
Well, for me, I guess that I have an interest in ancient Mesopotamian history, and that's a little bit weird. It was kind of dormant for a while, but I'm reading about it again.
And what book are you reading?
I'm reading a book called The Pageant of Civilization,
which is a great title.
By, I think, Arthur Broderie. And I don't know, I realize this is it's pretty dry, but it's really, really interesting just to think about the way people used to live 5,000 years ago, and the earliest civilizations, and what was normal for them is very much not normal for us today, which means that since they're just as human as us, that what it means to be a human is, and sort of the assumptions and the backdrop of that can be very, very different across different cultures. But there are similarities too.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. You know what that makes me think about a little bit is then kind of the logistics of day-to-day life in history, throughout history, specifically things like cooking and cleaning. So that's why I have really enjoyed the documentaries Victorian Farm and Tudor Monastery Farm and Secrets of the Castle. It really does make me grateful for, I just toss laundry in a washing machine and I walk away and this machine washes it for me.
The concept of free time and recreation is completely different. And so if you think about it, I was thinking the other day about how people had, nursery rhymes used to be, much more popular at a certain point in history, even just, 150 years ago, or songs and things like that. And I think it's because they were activities that people could do while they were working with their hands, or working in a field or something like that, is you could entertain one another or yourself.
That's so
by
true.
Going over that stuff. And now we watch things, but you can't really you can try to do housework while watching things, but it's not the same. So if we were occupying our lives with hand washing things, I wonder if we would be we would be listening to the radio. Yeah. But we wouldn't be watching things or reading.
Well, I listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
That makes me think of that episode of Lark Rise to Candleford when they bring in the harvest and they all have this very rhythmic harvest song. It's what is it called? Like a call out and response kind of a song. And I love that. Okay, question 6. What is something unusual you know how to do? I know some of your chemistry that you do.
Yeah, I would say that I know how to make I can make I can make polymers. I can make chemicals. Like I
And
know
for
how to do
the
that.
average layperson, what is a polymer?
A polymer is one of, I guess you could say, four common classes of materials of which the modern world is composed. So you think about metals, you think about ceramics, you think about uh, polymers, and then you think maybe about electronic materials.
Okay.
It, there's arguably other
Mm-hmm.
categories as well, but so polymers would be, you probably most commonly think about them in terms of like fibers. So like the
Mm-hmm.
fibers that make up clothing
Mm-hmm.
and carpets and things like that.
And then, but you also have worked with things that are in like shampoos
Yeah,
and
yeah.
okay, so household products.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's something unusual that I know how to do. I mean, it's a very unuseful skill, and I used this as my answer last time, but it's the only thing I can think of. Um, is that I can recognize what part of a movie a soundtrack song is from. I can write with my left hand. That's unusual.
Yeah, kind of, kind of. Yeah, no, to expand on it, because I don't know if people would have picked up on that or from your explanation, but Kate has this ability if she's seen a movie that if she hears the soundtrack later, she can tell what happened.
Exactly in that scene.
What's exactly is going on in the
Yes.
scene. And I think maybe some other people have that, but I feel like the vast majority of people, myself included, are kind of like perplexed by that. What's wrong with you? Like, why do you know that? How many times have you watched this movie? But she really, I think most of the time could have just watched the movie like once or maybe
it's because
twice.
It fits the scene.
Right.
It
but
is
for
part
me,
of the entire scene.
I get it, but a good soundtrack for me goes into the background and it doesn't get like pulled out into like my conscious. I don't think about it. It's just part of the whole thing.
Except for when we watched that awful version of All Creatures My Family and Other Animals that had like the tiki drums.
Yeah, but that was not a good soundtrack.
Yeah. The version, actually, it was a decent movie, but the soundtrack ruined it. It was not fitting with it at all.
Yeah.
Okay, name something you've made in the last year. So I'll just say that I have made lots of knit things. And I showed my blanket that I was working on. I finished that. I've made other knit projects, but they're going to be like gifts for people. Yeah, I mean, that and the food that we've eaten, the meals that I make and the things I bake. You made a really cool thing that's in our basement now. What did you make that's in our basement?
Yeah, I made a bench for lifting weights, and I made a squat rack out of wood. I did not
wood and cement.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And nails
lots
and
of
glue
2x4s
like
that you put
that.
together.
Yeah.
So it was a hack. You were able to save a ton of money and make it that way. This is going to be a loaded question for you, David. What is your most recent personal project?
Well, I started a YouTube channel, and I always have mixed feelings about it. There's always the question of like what to talk about and how much should I be talking about just things that are of pure interest to me, or how much should I be trying to talk about things that are of interest to other people? And you do a really great job of this, and you pretty much talk about whatever you feel like. But the BookTube is a really nice YouTube community because there's so much, common interests that people really have with one
bookish
another.
People really do like a lot of the same things.
And so with my YouTube channel, I really enjoy making videos. And if you want, I'm sure that Kate will link it below. But I sometimes wonder, if I'm ever going to find like a community, let's say, of like other creators, for instance, who I can collaborate with and interact with. And I think that would kind of take the YouTube experience for me to the next level.
Yeah, BookTube would not be fun without knowing,
other creators,
people who comment regularly and other creators.
Yeah.
That's what makes it what it is. I mean, I'll just say, put a little plug here. My most recent personal project is the Kindred Spirits Club. So that's been really nice. My project last year was my Patreon, kind of building that up. And that's been so fun, and that's still going on. And so then this year I've added this other thing. And then also the Cozy Things chat. So
those are fun.
I have a lot of fun with those. And they're fun to watch back later on too. Okay. Tell us something you think about often. You think about a lot of things often. You have many thought projects, so anything that comes to mind.
I think a lot about how we as a species and as a community can continue to enjoy and build on the good things that we've developed through technology, but in a way that's a little bit more friendly to the environment. Because those two things have kind of worked against each other. As human metrics for standard of living, such as like a lower infant mortality rate, have fallen, we've also started to have like a worse toll on the environment. And ideally, really, really good technological solutions would let you actually improve both of those things simultaneously. That is like a simple thing to say, but it's incredibly difficult to actually do. And that is occupying my mind a lot.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of your work too, because you're working with, is it natural polymers?
I work with natural polymers, so I'm trying to find ways to make things that, like additives for shampoos and stuff, less horrible for the environment.
Which is great.
Yeah, and because for someone who's in chemistry, especially, chemicals have earned a little bit of a bad reputation, and that's for good reason, because some of the things that chemists like myself have invented have been like horrific.
Because there's like stories like the movie Aaron Brockovich is based on, like bad water because of the chemicals that have been put into the water system.
That's right. And it's basically because, we think we understand the world, but oftentimes we don't actually understand things as well as we think we do. So for instance, you design a new molecule and it's like, hey, it's great, it's perfect, it does these great things. But then it has some unintended side effect. Maybe when it breaks down in a certain context, then it has some kind of unexpected harmful thing that it does. So.
Yeah. Something I think about often, I think about wanting to be in the countryside and wanting to be kind of in pastoral scenes. So that is kind of the life softening thing that's part of that. Yeah, just what an impact nature can have on morale. And anytime that I go with the boys, and we sit down by the lake and they play around and I get to sit with a book, my morale is through the roof. So I want to try to do that more often.
I agree with that. I remember when we were living in the city that I noticed when we went to what is the
arboretum.
The arboretum, so like a place with trees, basically like a tree, like a garden for trees. And I realized it's been like a year since I've been around trees, and I felt like some tension just resolve.
Yeah.
And I think that humans, maybe it's just me and you, but I think humans maybe just need to be around nature to some degree.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And it's nice because we're getting into spring now. So it will be a little bit easier. Okay. And the last question, give us something that's your favorite, but oddly specific. So to help you explain it, I'll go first. And this is what I thought of immediately. I did reference this if you saw my Cozy Things chat with Chelsea, but taking a bath, a very hot bath, and then having a cup of hot cocoa, it feels like the most decadent thing. And now I'm that's what I'm doing this afternoon later. Putting on this specific track that I will make sure to link that is classical music playing in the other room while it's raining. I don't know why. I find this so comforting. I mean, the sound of rain, many people find comforting, but the music off in the other room, it just is so cozy to me. And then reading a good book. So yeah, having a very decadent book bath with those specific elements, the hot cocoa and that track playing, I love.
Okay.
Your turn.
I've got one. Lately, I've been really enjoying taking a walk in the cold right before dawn. And right as dawn is just starting to break. So with
the schedule you've had lately going into work, you've liked that timing?
Yeah, the only thing is I'm more thinking about my weekend walks. The timing
that are
is
more
a little
leisurely.
Bit better, a little bit more leisurely, and also more through a park or something like that instead of just trying to get to work.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on for the Anything But Books tag.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun.